Oh, well, welcome. I'm so excited to have everyone here joining us for this wedding industry marketing expert panel to dig into the State of Small Business report. And what we're going to be talking about today are all the things in the report that really mean something specifically for wedding pros, as well as how you can think about the numbers and insights that you see and apply them to how you are going to do your own marketing in 2026. So I have three of the coolest, smartest humans in the wedding industry here joining me today. I have Mark Chapman, Amanda Writesman, and Adrienna McDermott. I would love for each of you to just give yourselves a quick introduction so that the folks can know who you are and what your like part of marketing that you feel like you are most excited about doing is.
Do it,
So Mark,
Amanda. You're first.
that's okay.
Go,
Amanda's
I'm
going
sorry.
first.
I'm friend. Sounds good.
You're first.
Mark Chapman from the I Do Society, and our focus at the I Do Society is paid advertising. That's all that we do. So we actually look at a ton of data in terms of paid ads across the wedding industry. And 2025 was a really wild year. And my take on the report will be how like the advertising data that I know and have like aligns with what was in the report.
Amazing. Amanda, how about you?
Sure. I am Amanda Writesman. I am the owner of The Bridal Theory, and I'm a marketing strategist and business coach for wedding pros and creatives. So a little bit across the board, inside and outside the wedding industry, leaning heavily into creating a strategy that works for you based on your goals and not just what's trending or popular or what you're told to do. Lots of strategy is my favorite thing, and spreadsheets. I can't help but love a spreadsheet.
That's where you and I are different. We love strategy. You love spreadsheets. I do not.
Give me the data.
Adri- yeah. Adriana, how about you?
Hi, I'm Adrienna. I own a marketing agency called Ava and the Bee, and we do everything but paid ads and PR. So we do full comprehensive marketing from blogging and copywriting to website branding, all that fun stuff. And it's just for wedding and event vendors only, the Cool Kids Club.
The Cool Kids Club. That's who we've got here today. Well, we are going to dive right into this report, and I'm going to pull up as we have this conversation. I'm going to pull up certain pages of it so that you can see a little bit what we're talking about. And to kick things off, I think it's important to know that 26% of the business owners who took the State of Small Business survey were specifically wedding and event professionals. We had 245 small businesses take it in general across 13 industries, but outside of the creative space, the wedding industry folks, y'all really contributed to these numbers. But the question that I have for all of you is what, in terms of your knee-jerk reaction to seeing the report and taking in what you do for your clients and what you're seeing within your own peer group, did the report reflect what you are experiencing as a human who has to do marketing things? Yes or no? And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Adriana, let's start off with you.
Yes, because marketing as a marketer is exhausting. People are always like, "Oh, don't you love marketing?" And I'm like, "For everybody but myself." So it definitely aligned with what I have felt as a business owner this year. Like, I won't sugarcoat the fact that, like, I also felt a lot of the overwhelm and exhaustion, which I think was really paramount in this report. And it's also something where we saw with a lot of our clients, like one of the number one things was just in our inquiries, because we track all of this, is just pure overwhelm of what do I do next and how do I do it? And then frustration that everything that they have been doing with marketing doesn't work as well as it did a few years ago. So kind of a combo of that. And like I said, even as a business owner myself who uses NG, who took the survey for my own business, I also felt that, like in a lot of ways, that it's a little different out there, even for us.
It's a little different out there. It's like the upside down a
Mhm.
little bit. Mark, how about you? What was your reaction? Do you feel like the report reflects what you're seeing in your quarter of the world?
Yeah, the two like sort of themes that stuck out in my brain were one, the overwhelm, like Adriana said, and two, the people that operated with a plan did better. And when we think about like advertising and marketing, they are different things, but they have the same goal, right? And so something that happened that was really big this year was that like short form video really took center stage for people who are doing paid advertising to for their ads to perform. Having short form video is really important. And that also became really important for organic social media and doing your social media marketing. And I think that like alone led to so much overwhelm for so many small businesses in the wedding industry because they're like, well, what do I do for my short form videos, right? And so the way that the whole planning and doing better because you have a plan worked out in our business, I was like, we created a strategy guide for people, like clients we work with, like here's your short form video strategy guide. And so it was really helpful. And those people who followed the guide and did their planning in advance to create their videos did so much better. So it was true. There's so much overwhelm, and those people who did plan in advance did so much better. But it's so much work. So I really like empathize with the fact that it is not easy to run your business and create short form videos. Like,
Yay, dancing on TikTok, which
yeah.
thankfully is now like the only option that we have for short form video these days. Amanda, how about you? What were your reactions to the report?
I hate to say the word overwhelm again, but I feel like it's the theme of the year, just overwhelm. And then how overwhelm I see play out is a lack of consistency. And that directly affects results, just hands down, is a not showing up consistently, not even being aware that they're showing up not inconsistently. They are so fixated on the idea of all this that they have to do overwhelm wise that they're not actually executing half of what they're thinking about.
Yep.
And the report, I could see that in there. So I definitely lean into the inconsistency and the overwhelm that I saw there. The thing that I did find interesting was I love looking at revenue breakdown, and I loved seeing the percentage that charged between each bracket, because I think there's a lot we can analyze with that as to the years businesses have been in the industry, what they're charging. I hate to say the word economy, but the economy and like what revenue they hit for this last year, and kind of studying that tied into that idea of overwhelm and inconsistency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are so many statistics that we could like go full grad school SPSS on if anyone ever had to use that terrible piece of software that came in a physical disk that you had to install on your computer. But that was one of the fun things that Danny really spearheaded the statistics in the report, and she's a part of the NG team. But yeah, she was like, well, we could cross tab these things and these things. And it was very interesting that there were a lot of things that didn't have any sort of statistical significance. But maybe I should give you the raw data, Amanda, and you can just go wild on it.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah. So I would love to hear what statistic or insight surprised you the most from the report, because there was definitely one that surprised me, and that was, when I'm talking to wedding professionals and I ask them how much time do you have to work on your marketing, they typically make a face and they're kind of ashamed to say, but they go like 1 or 2 hours a week. And that actually is pretty common within the NG community because we ask that question as they're setting up their accounts. But what surprised me personally was the fact that the business owners who spent 6 to 10 hours a week doing marketing things were 6 times as likely to rate their marketing as very or extremely effective. And that was the strongest correlation that we found throughout the report. So that was the thing that surprised me, because I think if I'm remembering correctly, it's only about 20% of business owners who are spending 6 to 10 hours a week on their marketing. But I would love to hear from each of you what surprised you the most. So Amanda, let's kick it off with you.
I mean, I kind of feel like I spoiled it earlier when I said the revenue thing. That is definitely one of them. But I do love that exactly. The fact that when people were submitted this survey, they either saw or did not see, I hope everybody will see it after this conversation, that there is a direct correlation to how well and how much you market to what your revenue ends up being, what your bookings end up being, all of this. We are so close to this world of marketing that we know this, right? But we take for granted sometimes that the person that's just worried about like having the perfect wedding photo or the perfect floral arrangement isn't saying, hey, if I don't show up enough, I'm not going to reach enough people, and enough people aren't going to know I exist. And if enough people don't know I exist, I won't have the bookings. And so that report really reflected that the people that were aware of that fact perform better. And I love
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yep. Fantastic. Adriana, how about you? What surprised you the most?
I mean, as someone who's gets outsourced to, those who spent money made money. Like, so those spending $1,000 or more a month are over 3 times as likely to describe their marketing as highly effective compared to those spending less than 500. And I know the first thing everyone's thinking is, Adriana, I don't have $1,000 a month. I I feel you. I'm not saying you have to, but I think it just shows the impact, kind of like what Amanda said, that you have to market to make money. And I think as wedding vendors, and I know Amanda, Mark, Taylor, and I think we've all had these convos with each other in the DMs. You have to put your business hat on.
Mm-hmm.
As an artist, you have to put your business hat on and you have to be like, okay, if I'm making this much money in a year, and I need to allocate $1,000 a month to my marketing, where does that money come from? And the answers could be adjusting your pricing, understanding your profit. But the number one excuse is I don't have the money. And I'm like, well, then where is that money going? Where if you don't have money to market, which is what is required to make the money, then where is the money going? There has to be some kind of like, it's not a black hole. Like your bank account isn't a black hole. Like maybe you need to adjust your prices an extra couple hundred a month so that way you can, so it's like, I know it's a tough conversation to talk about money, but like if you can spend money to make money, you have to figure out your profit to then spend it. Does that make sense? I just feel like I hear it all the time. And I'm like, well, then what do you spend your money on? If you charge $10,000 for a photo package, where does that $10,000 go? Because if it's not going to marketing, I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure where it's going.
Yeah. It might be going to a ticket to a very expensive wedding industry conference that shall remain anonymous.
Most
I
likely,
don't
but
know.
how
I
many
don't
flights have you booked
know.
from that wedding conference? The answer is you'll be in my inbox and say zero in
Hmm.
about 3 weeks.
Yep. Yep. No, I love that insight. And that was another one of the things where I was like, there is a sweet spot in the marketing budget. And most wedding professionals and business owners in general are really trying to do like guerrilla style marketing, which I describe as the hardest kind of marketing you can do, especially as a startup founder who has been asked to like make miracles happen with no marketing budget many times over. So I can speak from experience here. But Mark, how about you? What was the thing that surprised you the most from the
I think
report?
the stat of that 20% of folks who took the survey called their marketing very or extremely effective. And in my mind, when I look at statistics, I'm always like flipping it, which means like 80% of people did not feel like their marketing was effective. And like that just like it breaks my heart because in the report, the little tagline was like, effort is up, results aren't. Like it feels really awful to like work so hard and not get results. And so I think that's the thing that surprised me the most is like only like 1 out of 5 people thought their marketing was effective. And it shouldn't be that way. I don't know, like kind of
Mhm.
a sad, but that was what surprised me and like broke my heart. That's why we're talking, right? We're talking about next year and how to do better.
Exactly. And that is actually a perfect segue into my next question for you all, because as you can see here, the horrors persist, but so do we. Marketing did feel harder for pretty much everyone. And only 18% of small business owners who took the survey would say that the current climate that we're all trying to operate in is friendly to small business. And on top of that, 81% told us that they experienced some form of burnout in 2025. And I'd like to point out that people took this survey in September with like an entire quarter of the year left. So there was still 3 whole months to like experience more burnout. But that speaks to what you're just talking about, Mark. So, what do you think shifted the most in terms of the world that we're all trying to do marketing in? Adriana, I'll start with you.
I mean, truly the face of marketing has kind of changed. I talk on this a lot, but what worked in 2018 doesn't work anymore. And I know no one wants to hear that, but truly we're in a stage where couples are smarter, They are. Trust me, they're way smarter. They are in the driver's seat because if we all have availability, they can spend plenty of time. They can hem and haw for 16 years because in 2021 and 2022, they couldn't hem and haw, right? Because then they wouldn't have a wedding. They're in the driver's seat, which means we have to adjust our marketing and our sales process. And they're relying less on referrals. So of course it's overwhelming, right? Because all of these things that you relied on, like referrals and, assuming certain sales, it's really overwhelming and frustrating. Um, but I think it also just points to the fact that if you keep trying the same thing over and over again, that could be the problem. Like if you have spent the last 5 years marketing the same, and you saw it go like this, well, then I think that's when we need to, maybe reevaluate, stop and look at, I mean, obviously look at numbers and figure out why. But sometimes it's like okay in your business to be like, this isn't working anymore. And I think as business owners, we wear that with a badge of honor that like we're always going to be right. And sometimes it's hard to look inward and be like, hey, it ain't working anymore and we got to shift it. But I think the report actually makes it made me feel better and a bit more validated though, because it's like, oh, we all feel like what we've been doing needs to change. So it's not just you, it's not just the wedding industry. It's kind of like all of us are feeling that shift.
Yeah, it's all marketers everywhere in every industry, regardless of how big or small your organization is. Like I've had conversations with people who do marketing at enterprise companies, and they're like, "Yeah, we're also sitting here like, you know, say what we're gonna do next."
Yeah.
So so validating is one of the emotions that I definitely had looking at the report. Mark, what do you think changed in 2025?
Okay, picture this. It's 2011, and the Yellow Pages just died, and Google just became the way that couples found their wedding vendors and their wedding venues. And Facebook existed, but it didn't exist like it does today. Instagram didn't exist, TikTok didn't exist, Reddit and Pinterest, they weren't there. And so what and I go back to that because what we observe every year is that there are more places for couples to figure out who they want to choose for their wedding than ever before. In 2025, TikTok launched search ads because they realized that people were TikToking it. They were like, I was at a conference and someone was like, "Oh, I need to TikTok that." When we were talking about something, what she meant was she wants to go to TikTok and watch short form videos to learn about that. And what I've observed in the wedding industry is people are so tired and overwhelmed from Instagram that the thought of like getting set up on TikTok and doing really well there is too overwhelming for them. So those that did and made a plan for it did better, but those that are just like, I'm on Instagram and that's it was really hard for them. And so I think that what changed the most this year was more places that people are searching, more places that people are looking, and the difficulty of a small business owner in the wedding industry, rightfully so, to be in all those places at all those times. And there used to be a way, something that I think a lot of marketers or people would say is like, oh, just be really good at one thing and like that'll work out for you. But I don't think that's actually true anymore because you can be really, really good at Instagram. But if that's it, if people don't see you, they don't see your Google business profile with reviews and don't see your TikTok profile with videos, there's a little bit of subconscious lack of trust there. So overall, it was like, ugh, like kind of have to be everywhere, in all platforms.
You got to show up in more than one place. I like to say you can't have all your marketing eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Like that's super dangerous. So, Amanda, how about you?
So mine ties into Mark's perfectly too, because the thing that I saw shift, I've taught marketing strategy for years at this point, and early on it was Instagram is the only way and you must be perfect at Instagram, and I would have to educate people very specifically, no, a diversified approach is better, right? There are other options out there. It doesn't have to be just Instagram. There's lots of options. Like, let's build a strategy that makes sense holistically, not just do Instagram because the wedding industry says to do Instagram, right? Now I've seen a shift where people are so exhausted with Instagram that they're looking for other things too. And they're more open to the idea of this diversified approach, or let's try something different, or Instagram's not working for me. I want to have ads, right? Like I want to do blogging. I want to get SEO right. Like these are conversations that people are presenting more. They're on their own rather than having to be told that they should be diversified. I kind of love that. Like I I think that that's huge. I think it's a shift. Do think it's directly tied to people are just so burnt out on Instagram that they're hoping there's a better option that does better for them. I love that people are even more open to ads now. I love ads for wedding professionals, and that conversation has been a little easier lately. And I love that. I'm like, there are ways, so many ways to build a marketing strategy. It is not just post beautiful pictures to Instagram and you're going to be rich. Like we've
Yeah,
got to
I
do it a
agree
different
with
way.
it. Yeah, with the diversifying, we've seen that too. Is like we used to have to tell people you have to diversify,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're coming in, and I love it. And they're like, "All right, I guess Instagram's not the only one." And I'm like, "Yes, we've been telling you this for how long? Thank you."
I know.
One cool thing you can do too is like you can have a video or a post or a concept, and you can put that in all those different places, and maybe you shape it a little bit differently. But it's like, hey, let's talk about the strategy of what we're communicating, and then we'll do it in different formats for the different
Mm-hmm.
stuff. It doesn't have to be overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely. I know. It's like during the pandemic, at that point in time, my consulting business was very focused on writing or doing strategy, but then also website copy. And during COVID, I was like, oh, someone put something in the water because now all y'all understand that like website copy is important, right? And I was like, I don't know what clicked, but it's the same sort of thing here where something is in the water. And I guess maybe it's just been the years of all of us like beating down people's doors and they finally have relented. And they're like, I get it. Mark, Amanda, and Adrienna are right. I should show
Yeah.
up in more than one place. I mean, I think we should all take a little bit of credit for this. So actually, this goes really well into my next question. Amanda, I'd love to get your insight on this. But I mean, you already have, I mean, I think we all know that Instagram feels is oversaturated. Um, but are there any other marketing channels for wedding pros that you also would put in that category of just oversaturated? And then on the flip side of that, where do you go? Here's this greenfield opportunity for someone to come in and like own this space.
So I have a weird thought. I don't think Instagram's oversaturated, and I don't think it's not a valuable tool. So I think people are exhausted with it because they're trying techniques that are oversaturated and they're trying methods that are frustrating. I'm having great luck on Instagram. My clients are having great luck on Instagram, but we're doing it completely different than we used to do it. And if I were to keep doing what I'd done since 2011, 2014, whatever year that was, no, it would not be working and I'd be frustrated because I'd be screaming into the void. But when you stop screaming into the void and you say, okay, I'm going to show up and use this tool differently, and then it starts working again, your frustration goes away. Your willingness to show up helps, like all these things. So I think Instagram, yes, is oversaturated and hard to deal with and all the things that people complain about it. But I think it's more tools micro than that. Like I think it's more tool specific, method specific, style specific than just platform. So that's my hot take on that. As far as like the wild, wild west of like, where do I wish people could go? I'm not saying they should, but I am super curious about this rise in Substack interest and the way people want to read right now. Not necessarily Substack, but people want to read because I think they're visually overstimulated. And so that is a new thing. Like, I mean, I don't know if everybody else agrees with me. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. But like the rise of people reading again is kind of nice.
No, that's literally one I was going to talk about was people, I don't know if you guys have seen it too, but people are spending longer on websites than years past. Like we track our clients, websites obsessively, and they're spending more time. And everyone keeps acting like they don't read anymore. And the answer is no. They are reading. I was thinking about Substack too. I think it's what I'm predicting, and is, if I win, I win a gold star. But I think, and I'm seeing this a lot of one of my best friends works in product marketing, okay? And what she is sifting, which I think will shift into weddings, is the tactile magazine long format, like you're mentioning. Like Substack is all the rage in product, Substack is all the rage in travel. Those things filter into weddings later. And I think we're going to get into that tactile, like you said, like physical items, longer reading. We know they're already spending more time on websites and reading. So I agree with that for sure. I think we're thankfully getting there.
And if people aren't for that in regards of like, oh, I don't want to go into Substack, I think it's major points for blogs.
Mhm.
I said that there's different ways to use Instagram. Long form captions, people are reading them. Long form captions, long form stories absolutely work. Like that's a whole nother thing. So like people are reading. So just anywhere you can write and write of value, I think that is really interesting.
Yeah. With the whole like people don't read things, I think what people forget to think about is the whole funnel, right? Like for super top of funnel marketing, where you're just trying to get someone to discover you, throwing a super long form committing piece of content at them
Mhm.
maybe isn't the right time for that. But when you start moving down your marketing funnel and the closer someone is getting to converting to be a lead, yeah, they're going to read because they're trying to make a decision. And that's the type of content that's going to help them do that. So I love this conversation.
Because
So good.
one quick note on that is even on Reddit, which is my obsession, the
I know
top
it is.
posts are the long debriefs. And on TikTok, Mark, I'm sure you're seeing it. They're doing debrief series where couples go on and they do like a 10 series of a debrief of their wedding. So I think that leans into that long term is like on Reddit, they're doing debriefs, which means people are out there reading this. Like, look at the comments. Like, there's thousands of upvotes for this person who's giving a mile long review of their wedding. So,
Mhm,
I was
mhm.
actually going to say Reddit for my answer to this question of like what's not used enough. And I don't actually have the perfect recipe for how to get more of your business on Reddit because it is really user generated, it is really organic, and it should be that way. But almost like figuring out, can you get your couples to like talk about you on Reddit, because ChatGPT is referencing Reddit in a huge way. And people are searching on ChatGPT more. It's not like overtaking Google, but it is increasing. But I think Reddit is one of those places where it's like being there, having your business mentioned there is really, really, really good.
Yeah, I have been trying to become Adriana and like love Reddit. I still don't love it, but I'm showing up on it every day. And it is a very interesting place because it's so um perimenopause drop the word just dropped out of my head. Uh,
it's like its own microcosm. I mean,
it's
Reddit
like
has its own, yeah.
but the threads like they are people like a lot of my comments because I don't have enough karma points or whatever that is, right? They're, you can't comment, you can't self promote, right? There are a lot of rules to the conversations that are being had there. And so, if I when I'm in there, I'm not trying to self promote NG, but when I see questions and I'm like, oh, rock, paper, coin, or oh, like da da da, I can plug my other friends' businesses, products, softwares. I absolutely jump on that. And so I think Reddit is actually like a community platform for wedding pros because you're not supposed to be self promoting in that place. That is my theory based on the last few months of me being experimental in that space. Okay, so Adriana, I'm going to pull up a slide to complement what you are going to be asked right now,
Okay.
because two-thirds of small business owners only sometimes, but also rarely or never complete their marketing tasks. And then when you pair this with the fact that 75% of small business owners are out there just reforming it with no marketing plan that's documented. Um, I
Yeah.
don't think that this surprises any one of us on this panel. But my question to you is where do you suggest that people start with creating a marketing plan for their businesses? Since like I love showing these numbers next to this question because it's like how can you argue with us
Yeah.
when we say like if you don't have a marketing plan, guess what? You're not going to do your marketing things. So give the people a place to start so that they can take like the first easy step in the right direction.
Yeah, I think I want to say first that whenever we say the word marketing strategy or marketing plan, everyone I think assumes they need this like 40-page Google Doc. And like literally, it can be as simple as these are the weddings that I want to blog in the first quarter. Like it can be as simple as that. The biggest reason we want a marketing plan, and sometimes what I use, the word sometimes I use with my clients the most, because when I say marketing plan, they hate me. Content. Like, what is the topic of the month? Like, I want to get that simple. What are you talking about in January? What are you talking about in February? And what are you talking about in March? That is how you start making your plan, is simply what are you going to talk about? Because if you start thinking about, oh, I have to post 4 times a week on Insta and 2 blogs a month and 3 blah, 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 it's overwhelming. Just start with what the heck you're going to talk about. And trust me, it is easier because the minute we're able to walk backwards on a call with our client and be like, January, we are going to talk about this topic. When I say that topic, what is a question that comes up all the time? And then they say it out loud. I'm like, perfect. Blog number 1 and your first 7 Instagram posts of the year are done because we're talking about a topic. We're not talking about you have to post 7 times on Instagram, right? So that's always my biggest thing. Like literally when we're building a plan is like I literally have a piece of paper and I'm like, okay, March is this topic. This is the 2 questions we're going to answer. Those 2 questions are going to be your blog post, and those 2 questions are going to be all you talk about on social. And that's it. So that's like what we do for our clients is like, think of literally what your overall topic is. So if you're a venue, you're first in the funnel, January comes around, your couples are hounding at your door January and February. Like maybe you should talk about important things like what should they be looking for in a venue? Do you offer micro packages? I mean, micro weddings are literally huge right now still. That is your topic for January. And then that's what you talk about. And you just
Yep.
talk about it a few different times. And then on Instagram, so what we do is then you write one blog post and then you take that blog and you throw it into NG and you break it up into 7 Instagram posts and there you go. Like it sounds too easy to be true, but like it literally is that easy. Like just create a topic to talk about every month and talk about it until you're blue in the face. And then when February 1st rolls around, change your topic.
Yep. As I said before we hit record, use it, abuse it.
Yeah.
Right. Like just, no one's going to see that content or that theme the first post and then like not see anything else. Or on the flip side of that, most people won't see it that first time. And so you need to just keep putting it in front of them. And I love that, like, just super simple, actionable thing. Like, just come up with your 3 topics to guide the first quarter of the year
Yeah.
and just keep it at that.
I mean, you really only need, and we'll tell clients, I'm like, you only need 12 topics for a year. And honestly, you only need like 6 or 7 because we'll
Yeah.
repeat some of those. Like, we only need 6 topics, guys, and we repeat them because I think the other thing that the biggest misconception with marketing is that you have to come up with new every time. And I'm like, no, 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 no. We reuse, repurpose, like you said, like that's why you only need maybe 6 topics for the year because then you just go back and re-talk about them again. Like you don't have to come up with new content all the time. You can go back and reuse Instagram posts that performed well, like swap out a caption a little bit, use different images. Like I know we all do that on our O feeds. Like
100%. The marketers do it.
yeah, if it's performed
I
well,
live
you
and
better
breathe
believe
by
I'm
it.
posting it again. Like 100%. I'll change the
Yes.
color of the
Why would you
backdrop.
not use proven content?
Exactly. If the marketers do it, folks, that's the headline here. If the marketers do it, just also do it
Hold back
and
the
do it.
curtain.
Yeah, do it like without shame. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, my next question is for you, Mr. Chapman. Do you feel like measuring success, return on investment is harder in the wedding industry than it would be like outside of the wedding industry?
Thank you for giving me this question because it's a hill that I'm going to die on.
Okay, sweet.
Okay, and I'm going to frame it with a little bit of advertising in the beginning. So, like, sometimes when we start working with some new clients, they're like, I want to see which specific ad led to bookings. Well, guess what? Couples don't see an ad to discover you for the first time and then click on it and then give you all their personal data and your crazy long form on their website and think that you're the person for them. tracking data and ROI and like what works in the wedding industry is so hard because the couple's journey to picking their vendors and their venue is so personal and takes such a long time. So ROI and data is very, very important. Anytime you can track any data, and like I know actually NG has a whole suite of data, right? And it's really, really, really important to pay attention to this data, but it's also really important to step back and think about how the humans who are behind the data are operating. So the answer is yes. And that is a hill that I will die on all day long.
Yes. Amanda, I'm pretty sure you're going to have thoughts on this since you are a numbers person. But I mean, like in jargony terms, like this is, multi-attribution kind of stuff, right? It's why with NG, even though we are like a very, very inexpensive product, our customer's journey is actually pretty similar to a couple who's investigating wedding pros, meaning like they're going to go and they're going to look at our stuff in all of the places. They're going to take their time because subscribing to a piece of software is a longer term relationship, right? So it's not just a $29 one-off purchase. So we use UTMs to try to understand more of this, multi-attribute world, which again, like I know that I'm using jargon that some people are going to like melty face emoji and just check out of the conversation. But is there something that you like to do, Amanda, to like help people see more holistically how that buyer journey is actually unfolding?
Sure. So I like to, again, like you said, like look at the numbers, and it's less about the buyer journey as a whole and watching their patterns as it is like risk assessment. And I hate to say that, but it's like you look at the numbers and you say, okay, if I'm willing to invest $150 a month into a meta ad, if I'm willing to invest $600 a month into Google Ads, if I'm willing to invest $39 a month into a software, right? You're looking at it and you go, okay, what would I need to get as a return on the long term from that to recoup my expense, right? So if I'm looking at it and going, okay, yeah, it sounds terrifying to spend $600 a month on something, and I'm just making up numbers. I'm like, but if your average service, one booking is a 10K booking, why would you not spend $600 a month? And potentially at minimum, do you think that this effort might produce one booking? Yes. Okay, well then your ROI is massively understood right there and your risk is low. So it's a psychological thing with investment and like marketing services or outsourcing or ads or software. It doesn't matter. People's first reaction is to not spend because they need to make money. So they're like, oh, I shouldn't spend money because then I'm giving it up, right? And then the reality is like you have to spend money to make money. We said that before, but you can tell your brain the facts and say, okay, here's my risk. Here's where I'm comfortable. If I think truthfully that this investment will result in one booking, that one booking makes the ROI make sense on the long term, let's do it. And then you go in with a different approach. What's up, Mark?
Sorry. I'm like 1,000%. And the thing I think that you are also saying is that people give up too quick. Like people are like, oh, I did it for a month and it didn't work. Well, like, guess what? That like sometimes couples like shop you for 5 or 6 months before they actually decide to call you. And so, and the same thing could be for NG. Like if you're going to try NG, you're going to try new software. Well, you got to give it some freaking time because like you're making a shift and a change and that requires your time and attention and you can't just give up. You can't just like, oh, I tried it for a month and it didn't work. Like that's your fault. Like you've got to like choose your tools carefully and really give it a year. Like give it a year. Because sometimes when you do Google ads for a year and you know what, that couple discovered you in January and they called you in August and you're like, whoa, like it's okay because that's the time frame that it takes.
Yep. So what I would love before we get to our final question is just to get, on this whole, like, how do we know if our marketing is successful? How are we tracking ROI? I'd love to know what your like one metric, KPI, insight, whatever you like to call it. What is that one thing that you wish people would track? And based on what you were saying, Amanda, I usually say a different thing, but I'm gonna switch it up today for mine because I would love for people to track their cost to acquire a customer. Like how many marketing dollars
That's a good one.
do I need to spend on average in order to win an inquiry. And that number, once you know that number, it influences how you're going to allocate your budget, but also sets expectations. So that's my one KPI. Adrienna, what would be your KPI that you'd love for people to track?
Mine's kind of a twofold because they have to kind of go together.
Yeah.
So and this kind of goes along with yours, but like your inquiry to booking
Mm.
rate, whenever I'm on a call and they're like, because part of marketing is to get them to the top of funnel. However, if you have 100 inquiries and only one book, okay, there's something happening either at the top of funnel, your sales process, like that is such an important number. And we've seen in the last like 6 months, a lot of people like struggling to understand that. They'll be like, I invested in marketing or a new website and nothing's working. And then I'll be like, okay, so what's your inquiry to booking number? Like booking a call, I would say. Let's say like inquiry to booking a call with you. Because then I need to know how many inquiries you need in a year so then I can work backwards. Because that's also another misconception is they'll be like, oh, I need 7 billion inquiries. And I'm like, well, maybe not. Maybe you only need, 40 or 50 good ones, and we just need to increase your sales funnel. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is just knowing how many inquiries actually book a call with you and then how many go through the process, because that's how we can understand what might not be working in that early funnel stage. If, like
I
we're
love
getting them
that.
in and I'm sending it and your website's coming up first page of Google, they're always like, I want to be #1 on Google. And I'm like, that doesn't mean you're going to make actually money in the long term. Like it means you'll be found, but it doesn't mean they're actually going to pay you dollars if it's
Can
not
you
working.
convert that traffic into inquiries, and can you convert those inquiries into bookings?
100%. Yeah.
So Mark, what's your metric you want people to be tracking?
This is going to sound wild, but I want people to track their time. This sounds crazy. When I started, well, I have an amazing business coach, and she like had me track my time for like 2 years, and it was shocking the things and the amount of time that I spent on things. And she was like, "Hey, you're spending 5 hours on that. Like, what's 5 hours of your time worth? And can you outsource it to someone in the Philippines for $25 an hour instead of your $100 an hour?" People don't track their time, and it's literally like marketing related, but it's also business related. Track your time. Yeah.
Amanda, how about you?
So I have so many, but I'm going to do my best. I have learned through my years as business coach that people don't track their numbers at all. Like, let's
Correct.
just be real. Like, they
Correct.
are terrified to look. And so they don't look. And then at the end of the year, they have to run all these numbers and they're like, oh crap, I didn't make any money. Or like, oh, it's just all these things where they stick their head in the sand because they're scared to look. And what I love is when I work with people and sometimes I make them look and it's better than they thought it was. But they don't ever know because they're too scared to look. And you can't make executive decisions, CEO decisions, financial decisions if you don't know your numbers. So like the short answer is look at your numbers at all. But like specifically profit and loss, I got to a point in my business, like I said, I like spreadsheets. I do this is going to sound absolutely insane probably to some people, but I don't just do this like quarterly or monthly. I do it daily. And that has changed my time allocation so much. I'm like, okay, this is what's moving. And I can see it, right? Because I'm looking at it on the micro level instead of the macro level. So that's huge. And then just because, like I said, I've got too many, I can't not. I would love for people to know what percentage of revenue that is profit or however they structure it. I want to know what they're paying themselves because so many wedding professionals take what's left over and and it may not be enough, or maybe they've got months that are really high and months that are really low, but they actually don't know what they're paying themselves. And they don't have a plan there. And that hurts me for wedding pros and creatives because I have discovered that that's the fastest way to burn out and closing a business is when you're not getting paid well for what you're working really hard to do. So
that one hits home big time for me. Yep. So I love all of those. And those were all like I feel like the metrics that we just talked about are a very like well-rounded set of metrics that we're encouraging someone to start with. So like, here's your starting point, everyone, right? If you're currently not tracking your metrics with Amanda, I know is a fact. Nobody is tracking metrics. Please start. And you have like 6 that you can start with as just a way to start using this muscle. So my last question for all of you is, what would you tell the wedding professional who reads the State of Small Business report and goes, well, I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing? What would you, if you were to stand on a soapbox, if you were to give them some tough love, whatever version of that you want to describe it as, what would you say to that person? And Adrienna, I'm going to start with you.
I have so many thoughts. Then you can't complain when your competition, who is a decade younger than you, is crushing it. Because the number one
Boom.
thing is you're going to send me this youngin that was once all of us. We were once that youngin being sent out as like, ooh, look at this new person in town, and they're crushing it. You can no longer complain about them because you have decided to allow them to beat you every time.
That one, Adrienna, this is why we're friends.
It's kind of a tough love, but I hear it all the
Yes.
time. They always
Yes.
want to compare their business to a different one, and I'm like, well, if they're doing all the work and you're doing none,
I
that's why.
cannot help you.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Amanda, how about you? What would you say to the person that's like, well, I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing, even though it's not working?
Then statistically, you'll get this or worse. Like, think about that. Are you happy with the results you have right now? If the answer is yes, great. That's probably why you feel the way you feel. But there's a law of diminishing return. And eventually, if you keep doing what you do, you will have lower results. And that is just a fact of not adapting and not evolving and not growing. And so it's this or worse. That's what you get. You do not get better.
Ooh.
That also is good. All right, Mark, bring it home.
So Amanda's quote is, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten. So if you don't,
exactly. Yeah.
I think I think a lot of us have been sold of like, we can have it all, like we can own a small business and do all the things. And I think that's just not realistic. And I think that if you don't do anything, but here's what I would say. I think in order to do something different, you have to give up something else. What are you going to give up? Is it money? Is it time spent somewhere else in order to start something different and do something different? And that's just the reality of it. Everything's a trade-off. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So figure it out. What is it you want to change? And what are you willing to give up in order to have that?
I love that. Thank you to each and every one of you for having such a meaty conversation about this. I mean, this is the first panel discussion I've done about the State of Small Biz report, and this one sets the bar. So everyone else that has one of these scheduled with me, like Elizabeth and Nora from Rock Paper Coin, we're doing one in January. I'm going to have to message them. Be like, you need to watch this and come prepared to bring it like all of you just did. So thank you so, so much. I would love for each of you to take a minute and let people know how they can stay connected, how they can learn from you, how they can work from you, all that kind of stuff. So Mark, how can people learn more about the I Do Society?
And thank you for putting the report together, Taylor, because it's really, really powerful and really cool to see. And nobody's doing it, so thank you for doing it. And I'm going to do a shameless plug for NG if you're watching. Use NG. That's all. Go check it out. NG. There you go. If you're interested in paid advertising in your wedding business, the I Do Society just does paid ads on Google, Meta, and TikTok. That's all that we do. We're extremely good at it. We're going to get you qualified leads. We've got a done-for-you service where we take care of everything, soup to nuts. We've also got DIY advertising kits where you buy a kit, it's a one-time purchase, and you follow the steps and you do your advertising. All of that can be found at theidosociety.com.
Thank you. Amanda, how about you? How can people keep in touch, learn from you, work with you?
So like I said, it's not dead. So definitely find me on Instagram at The Bridal Theory. I have lots of fun stuff on there. Honestly, I just have fun in that space. And you can send me a DM. You can obviously, of course, go to my website, amandawritesman.com, or the curatedmarketingsociety.com. I know that's a mouthful. That is our monthly membership where we do classes on different marketing topics every month aimed at learning new tips, new techniques, getting live coaching, all of those things. And then I do select one-to-one coaching services as well. So you can learn about that on amandawritesman.com.
Wonderful. And I know at the time of us recording this, which if you watch this after January of 2026, it will no longer be relevant. But in the early part of January, Amanda has Marketing Week going on. So
Yes.
keep your eyes peeled for all that fun stuff.
We got to get Mark in on this now, because I don't think I've asked you yet, but we'll talk.
Yeah.
Great. Connections in the wild. And Adrienna, how can people keep in touch and work with you?
Yeah, come hang out with me on Instagram too. I'm not in the feed as much, but I'm in those stories, y'all. Every day I'm in the stories. Come hang out with me, see what I'm eating for breakfast. And you can find us at avandthebee.com. But honestly, DMs or email is great. We would love to help you guys with any of your marketing needs. And if we are not a fit for you, do not worry. We will literally do everything we can to find you the perfect person for whatever you need. So even if you're like, I don't know what I need, great. Come on in. We'll figure out what you need and we'll find it.
I love that. Thank you seriously so much for carving out this time today to have this conversation. And thank you to everyone who's watching the replay. If you haven't downloaded the report yet and you want to comb through all the things and nerd out on your own, the link to that is going to be in the video description for you. But please do follow all of these super smart marketers. Like, marketing is the hardest when you try to do it yourself. And so surround yourself with the people who can guide you and you just can continually learn from. So like I said, thank you so much. Have a fantastic rest of your day, everyone. And see you around on the internet.